This is North Carolina Senator Vicki Sawyer. Join me on Fridays at 11 a.m. for our show, We're Just Saying. We'll discuss state and local politics, and as always, take your calls here on News Talk WSIC.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
I want to see the kind of industries that are opening up.
This is Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone, where your business matters. Local Biz Now.
You have to determine what is working, what isn't working.
Joe Vagnone is a respected business broker, helping individuals buy and sell businesses. Joe has successfully owned and operated many companies in a variety of industries. This is Local Biz Now, because your business matters.
Yeah! You are listening to the #1 live business radio show in North Carolina, coming to you from Burner Cigar Studio, home of fine premium cigars, fantastic cigar smokers, and a wonderful group of people. Go on by Burner Cigar and check them out. Tell them that Joe sent you. We hope to inspire, inform, and entertain you, because that's what we do here at News Talk WSIC. This is 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. I am Joe Vagnone, and you are listening to Local Biz Now. We've been going strong for 11 years. We have well over 850 small business owners and community leaders that we have interviewed over the years. We have well over 660 videos on my YouTube channel. Go to Joe Vagnone Business Broker. Again, Joe Vagnone Business Broker. Please subscribe to that. Sign up for that. We've got a lot of videos over the years, and all of our interviews are taped, and you are definitely going to want to see today's show. It is exceptional. We are live on the book, live on the tubes, live on the X, live on wherever you do the pod. Feel free to see us. I am monitoring Facebook here on my computer, so if you want to say something, chit-chat or whatever, we'll try and get you on the show. And, of course, Julie is monitoring Facebook as well, because, as you know, if you have heard this show before, everybody needs Julie. And, of course, if you know, every month we have a new co-host. This month is an old hat, even though he's new this month. He's a buddy of mine. He's been with me for years. Most of you that know me know he's one of my favorite people, Chris Villani. He is the founder and owner of Rise of a Super Athlete. He is the one person, my go-to guy, whenever I need some advice and experience. And Chris, thank you, my friend, for being on the show, buddy.
I love it. This is great. I can't wait for our guest, too.
So it's funny you say that, because I know what Julie did today. Julie knew very well that you are one of my favorite people on the planet. She also know that Rebecca, who we're going to have on in about 15 minutes, I'm going to pull her on a little bit early.
Nice.
I just absolutely, really adore all of the things that she does and says, and she excites me and motivates me, inspires me the same way you do. So I'm going to tell you this. Anybody who's listening or watching on the book right now, hang on, because today's show is going to be full of inspiration, motivation, excitement, and I'm going to have to, I feel like I'm going to be holding on the reins as you two thoroughbreds are running down the court.
Oh, it'd be great.
And we'll just take this conversation any way you want to go. But the truth is, Chris, you are my go-to guy, because when it comes to inspiration and motivation, you just seem to be able to push people in directions and in areas that other people kind of miss.
Yeah.
Why would you say that is the case? Because you know, I'm a positive guy, right? But talking to you, you're able to sort of mentally move me to the next level. What is it that makes you a little bit different than, say, some of the other people that I talk with?
Well, the difference between, I think, between what I do and other people do is I look at people for owning their own area and their own space. I don't believe in positive thinking all the time, because I think sometimes life's going to be hard. Life is undefeated. So we got to look at people and understand, where are they currently at? What do they want? But let's do this. How do we can be a co-author in life? So it forces me to understand who that person really is, understand what they do, why they do it. And then we design something that is so fun where they go, oh my gosh, even on my toughest day, I'm winning or I'm growing or I'm doing something. And that's the most beautiful part. For me, it's watching someone, who I've worked with who comes back later and says, you know what, I went through this moment. I remember what you said. I came back and I made it happen. And I have, clients that do this. I have parents who will text me. I had actually a client, parent who reached out after about 6-7 years of working with his son and said, I want you to know, you helped me out over here. You helped my son do this thing for college football. We still use your stuff every day. Thank you very much. And this is out of the blue.
Right.
And that's
because it's
impressive.
not just sports, right?
Yes.
I mean, sports is sort of the beginning conversation that we have with you.
Yes.
You are an expert, and I do mean a true expert when it comes to college and high school athletes.
Right.
Chris is the man. Let me tell you that. If you've got a son or daughter who is doing any kind of sports and they desire to do more,
yes.
Chris is the man that can help you do that.
Yeah.
He will help them take their mindset from good to exceptional.
Right.
With this intentional move like
Right.
that. You specialize in handing these kids, right? This intentional direction.
Right.
And I've watched it happen in my family.
Yep.
My son, one of my first texts was to you.
That's right.
When my son got the North Carolina record
That's
for
amazing.
deadlift.
Congratulations, CJ.
Yeah, that's right. CJ, you're the man. My son picked up 661 pounds and is holding the North Carolina deadlift record.
Nice.
And the first thing I do, right after I wipe the tears from my eyes, right? You know what I mean?
Proud dad.
Like I can't believe this
That's
happened, right? Is text you.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, can you believe this?
Yeah.
Because you were one of the first people that he told us what he wanted to do, and I wanted to laugh at him. And you looked at me and said, hey, man, don't laugh.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
CJ, how you going to get there?
That's right. That's the two things I was looking for. We were actually having cigars at your house.
Yeah, that's right.
By
That's
the
exactly
lake and
right.
stuff like that. And his mindset was one that showed me that no matter what, I'm going to make it happen. And
You
I'm a
saw
big enough
that.
reason. Yes.
I didn't.
Yes.
I thought it was, come on, man, you're not going to get there.
Well, when you
know?
work with enough people, a lot of people play a big game, they'll talk a big game.
Right.
But when you work with enough, and over the years, you start finding out who's actually really in it and who's not. This is what separates, like, anyone we look up to. Well, look at Simone Biles right now.
Right.
And this is a conversation you and I actually had a few years back with Simone Biles when she, said, look,
That's
I'm
right.
not ready for it.
That's
and I
right.
said, this was a good thing for her.
You and Tracy beat me up over that.
I was saying she's going to come back. She's going to reset because she knows herself well enough. And this is the beautiful part. When you work with somebody and understand it's a two-edged sword, because part of them is like told they never should give up. They feel like they're giving up, or I'm a failure, or I didn't make it. But going into something's you're never going to succeed well enough that way. You have to go into something going, okay, great, that happened. What do I need to do now to get better? It could be rest. It could be this small, simple thing. But once you learn how to refocus, understand what your goal is, and design ways so you know you're winning, not at the end, but now, that is where the journey happens. And she was able to do that.
And one of the things you've done for me over the years and for a lot of your clients is you don't focus on the specifics of the goal.
Nope.
You focus on the mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Pick your goal.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what
I don't
it is.
care what it is. And you should have fun along the way. It's
That's
about
right.
looking at it going, when you have a goal, a lot of us, if we were taking a road trip like from here to Los Angeles, for example, we could have a roadmap. We could have it detailed, but I'm going to guarantee you, life and Mother Nature and everything else is going to get in the way. But this is how we can actually do it and have fun at the same time.
Okay. Speaking of having fun,
Yes.
let's take a break.
Okay.
I'm going to bring Rebecca on. You've not met her.
No, I have not.
I'm telling you, you two together are going to be like lightning and thunder.
Nice.
So we're getting ready to have a storm up at WSIC. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I'm talking to Chris Villani, rise of the super athlete. Hang on. You better get yourself something to drink, sit down and relax, because we're getting ready to bring Rebecca on. We'll be right back.
Keep it right here. Local Biz Now with Joe Bagnone will return after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Okay, you going to drop Rebecca on? Rebecca!
What up, Joe?
Hey, young lady, how are you feeling?
Oh my gosh, listen, it has been a journey, but I am upright, so Got no complaints. Got no complaints.
So I've been dying to get you on the show for what, like a year,
I know.
And so
it's been a journey, man. It's been a journey. I'm so sorry.
I'll tell you what's so funny is Julie knew I was dying to get you back on the show, right? I saw one of your videos. I really wanted to talk to you about it, and you got sick. And I was, because, Julie does all of this scheduling for me. Believe me, there'd be no show without Julie doing the scheduling, right? And so I saw you sent an email that says, hey, listen, I'm literally in the hospital bed. If you need me to, I can do it by audio, but no video. And Julie was like, well, okay, we'll try and make that happen. And I'm thinking, Julie, what are you doing? I mean, God bless both you women, but, I don't need to see Rebecca that bad.
We're tough cookies. I true story, hand to God. My surgeon was like, all right, listen, here are your odds. And my thought is, all right, well, I got 6 days before my next gig. I love what I do so much, right? I got 6 days before I got to be on stage. So I looked at him dead in the eye and said, you got to get me out of here in 5 because I got to be on the plane.
Nice.
And his response was, Rebecca, you need to be calling your family right now, not your client.
Not worried about being on Joe's show and getting back up on stage. Well, I love that Julie was doing her best to get you on the show, but I was like, come on now, ladies, we got to shut this down now. So I'm glad you're here.
When you love what you do, you love what you do. I'm glad to be here. I'm super grateful to be here with both of you, Joe and Chris. It's an honor.
So, okay, we got about 30 seconds, and then we'll come back live.
Cool, let's do it.
Where we at? Okay.
Now more Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Yeah, you are listening to the #1 live talk business show in North Carolina, home of the Burner Cigar Studio. We thank you all. We hope to inspire, inform, and entertain you, because that's what we do here at WSIC. And today, I'm telling you, hang on, because we've got one heck of a show. Two of my favorite people on the planet are here. I've got Chris Villani. He is the founder of Rise of the Super Athlete. He is the one person I go to for personal matters and personal inspiration and motivation. Chris, my friend, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely love it.
And I have Rebecca Heiss. Some of you should remember her because she was on the small business event that we did 2-3 years ago, I think it was.
It's been a minute.
We were introduced by my good friend Chuck Gallagher.
That's right. Right. Yep.
And I needed a keynote speaker, and he said, I don't think you're going to get her, but if you can get her, she's fantastic. I said, give me the phone. I'm going to call her. I thought I was going to have to give Rebecca this hard sales pitch. She said, Joe, I'll be happy to do it. That sounds great. And Julie and I have been following your videos ever since then. Rebecca, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. It's always a privilege to be able to give back to the community a little bit, and you do such a fine job with your show. So it was an easy ask.
So the last time you were on the show, you spoke about fear less, right?
Right.
And it was this empowering, inspirational conversation that a lot of people really liked. Because of that, Julie started following your videos, and then she would send them to me, right? And then I started following your videos. And about 7 months ago or so, 6-7 months ago, I saw one of these videos that I thought, this is just awesome. I got to get Rebecca back on the show. And that's when I was trying to connect with you. If I remember correctly, the video had something to do with you were prepared to apologize for all women that that I'm sure all women were apologizing to me for treating me so poorly and how you had put men in such a difficult position. How am I doing describing that video?
Yeah. If you want me to recap it, we can go there. Yeah. I did a TEDx. I mean, this was the theme of my TEDx was basically that as we've cheerleaded women into positions of traditional masculine power, right? We're in leadership positions. We're obtaining more degrees. We've got more money. We haven't done the same for men in the realm of feminine power. Right. And so the whole idea was, if we're going to cheerlead women up, which we should be, we also need to be cheerleading men alongside us. So,
I sensed it as an apology.
You were close. Yeah, not exactly an apology. I'm not saying sorry. I'm saying let's do both. Let's do better for all genders. All genders. Yeah.
And Chris, now you see why I love Rebecca so
great.
much. She's a good sport on this. So Rebecca, tell people that are listening, what is it you actually do? Because you are a doctor, right?
I am, yeah.
And what I want people to know, why I just adore her, is these are not just her opinions. She does detailed research and analysis on this stuff. This is just not somebody deciding on a Tuesday to tell you what she thinks on these videos. It really is a lot of information that you do research on. To talk just a little bit about your background.
Yeah, thanks so much. I mean, listen, if you have a medical problem, don't call me. I'm not that kind of doctor. I'm not going to be useful. I'm really not that useful. What I do, I'm a stress physiologist. So that means I have a PhD in understanding what's between our ears and how it affects us, especially during times of stress. So my work now is all focused on how we can use stress in a positive way to fuel us and push us forward. If you guys are watching the Olympics right now, big moments are happening, world records are being broken, and that's, under a tremendous amount of stress and pressure.
Yep.
And so the whole point here, and I was listening to Chris earlier, I think we have very similar mindsets here, is with the right mindset, right? We can, under really high levels of stress and pressure, perform at our peak.
That's right.
But what most people believe is like, we've got to get rid of stress. Stress is so bad for us. I'm like, well, hang on a second. Then why are you going for a run?
Yes.
Like, runs are really stressful.
Absolutely.
It's putting your body under a tremendous amount of stress. But it's the way we think about stress that actually either helps or hinders us. So I'm helping people. I think of myself actually as stress's PR agent. I'm like trying to give stress a better name for itself, because it can be really powerful.
So
right now, that's what I do.
One of the things you said on one of your videos, which is really surprising to me, is you asked the question, why is it world records only seem to be met, at the biggest stages, right? Because they could do it at practice if they wanted to.
Well, you think,
right.
You would think so. You would think so. But actually, so traditionally, the way we think about stress is stress and performance has this sort of upside down U curve, or normal curve, if you will. And very low levels of stress, think trust fund baby, never got to get out of bed. You also have very low levels of performance. And traditionally, the thought is if you have too much stress, same problem, right? You're just I'm so overwhelmed, I can't do anything. I'm just going to lay down and not try. I think there's been a little bit of a shift in the research and saying, well, too much stress, who determines what's too much stress? If you're peaking here in this very slim optimal level of stress, what does that mean about the amount of stress you're under? And we don't control the amount of stress we're under. What we control is how we process that amount of stress. So if you're thinking about, a world record holder at practice, they probably don't have the same amount of pressure and stress that could launch them to that high performance. So they actually require these high level, high stakes games in order to get into this mindset where they can perform at their optimal level. And I think the same is true for any of us, whether we're elite athletes or in business
Well,
and having that stressful meeting.
Yeah, well, Rebecca, one of the reasons why Chris and I get along so well is because we after years of getting to know each other, we realize the athlete and the businessman and woman, I got to do that with
Same
Rebecca,
thing.
and woman.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because I'll call you on it.
That's right. That's right. There are these peaks. There's these levels of intentional disciplines that they're similar.
Yes.
I want to go back to stress because I experienced a stress I've never experienced before in my life. And my son just set a North Carolina powerlifting record, or actually deadlift record.
Nice.
Well, the stress that he was under, he used exactly for what you described, because he had never lifted 661 pounds before, but he said, Dad, I'm going to do it now. But as I'm watching him, Rebecca, it was the most stress I've ever felt in my life. It was a stress I've never felt before. I told Chris, I would have rather try and pick up 1,200 pounds than go through the stress of watching my son pick up.
Yeah.
How do you define the differences of stress? Because to me, that was a completely different type of stress.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you asked that, because the exact same thing in our body happens when we are under extreme levels of excitement and extreme levels of stress. So what you were experiencing there might have been excitement, Joe, but in your brain, you're going, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed out because I can't control what's about to happen. We only get stressed out when we feel like we don't have any control.
Oh, you're right. I had no control over
true.
that. You're right about that.
You have no control. So here's the trick. The flip that you can do is your body's having this experience. And the thing that you get to control is, am I excited about this or am I anxious about this? Exact same hormones. The only difference is the interpretation. So if you say to yourself, I'm so excited, you can be excited for your son and not experience the stress. So that's the biggest shift. That's the game changer for people, is transforming
Chris,
that stress energy.
You got Chris thinking here.
There's a couple of things that she's talking about. One is you naming the stress. That was the one thing you just said a second ago. The second is a reframe. So if I'm doing something, it's instead of like, oh my gosh, I got to go do this workout, or I got to do this business meeting. Oh, I get to. And when you really look at it, and then you start going, in fact, this is my topic for next week. We'll be talking about this. It's how you look at it is different. I do Spartan races, and I do them because I want it. And I always tell people, I'm not worried about winning any trophies. What I do, what I'm curious about, it's me against me. Today I did 3 miles on a trail today, and and I threw on some Tom Brady stuff, and I was just listening to him because I think he's got an amazing story of where he's at. And it's people are like, well, are you competing with anybody? No, because Michael Jordan never competed against anybody except for himself. You look at the best of the best, and we only feel good even on our worst days. If we can look in the mirror late at night and go, okay, it didn't go the way I wanted to, but I learned, or I grew, or I pushed myself, or I don't care how small it is. Ownership. And I think one of the sad things is for most people is they only can feel good when something big happens. And that sucks.
You nailed it. You nailed it. I mean, there's 2 things that I just heard that you said that I think are so important. So I want to re-emphasize them for people listening. The first is competing against yourself. Better today than I was yesterday. Yeah. Because the reality is there are no competitors. There's no competition. There's no competitors. You don't get to control them, right? They're going to push as hard as they want to push. And so the only thing you get to control, the only thing you get to stress out about is you.
Right.
And that's a gift, right?
Absolutely.
You can have worthy opponents and worthy rivals, and you can try and train and be better than them. But really, it's about you. It's about how you show up that day. And the second thing you said is that trajectory. I talk about this 3-stage thing for defining stress, reframing stress. But the trajectory is the third part, and it's setting these small micro goals along the way.
Yes.
We're talking about enjoying the journey.
That's right.
Like, forget about the big goal. The big goal is out, like it's pushed out. Maybe you'll achieve it, maybe you won't. Doesn't actually matter. It's really that everyday movement that sets you on the path towards it, because fear is really good at convincing you, like, sit in one spot. You know the outcome.
Rebecca, we got to take a break.
It's very clear. Let's
take a break. We got to make a few dollars. This is a business show. We'll be right back.
We'll return to more of Local Biz Now with your host, Joe Vagnone, after these messages on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Good. Rebecca, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. Is there something you want to talk about? We good?
I mean, yeah, we're good. I'm just happy to be chatting
Okay.
along with y'all. Everything's great. I've got a new book coming out. If you want to talk about that,
I
that's
do.
great, but-
I do. That's
Sure.
the Instinct book?
No, that's out. My new book is coming out in hopefully January, February. It's called Springboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I thought I read the Instinct book, but I couldn't
thought you did
find
too.
it.
I'll send you a copy.
When did you write that?
I think it came out in 2021.
Okay.
Yeah.
I looked for it before this interview, and
I think you've
I'm
read
thinking, I keep thinking, gosh, I could have sworn I read that, but I couldn't
think
find
you
it.
did. Jeez, my book is really memorable. You heard it here first. I'll send you a copy, Joe. Don't worry. I'm gonna write in big letters. Read this and don't read it, Rebecca.
Well,
Yeah,
when your new book comes out, I definitely want to get you back on the show. What I
got it.
like to do is I like to read the book, make some notes, and then get the author back on the show, and then we can just kind of go through the book. So that'll be a lot of fun with you to do that.
Love
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Love it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk. You asked me if I wanted to talk about anything. I think that the next thing I was going into was just about how fear is really good at like keeping us where we are,
Yes.
rather than
Okay.
even moving us forward.
That'd
Right?
be a good conversation too.
That'd be the only thing. Yeah.
Momentum. It's interesting. It's when you kind of look at like areas of mindfulness. They always talk about the power of now. But there was a lady who wrote Counterclockwise, Unlanger. Are you familiar with her book?
Yeah.
She has it's the
I
next
love it.
smallest step. And I always tell people it's the next smallest step because frustration, especially for someone who's wanting like high performance, they think it's not till the big thing can I feel good. But the big thing is due to the small stuff. And you have to prioritize the
Always.
small stuff. It's just as important as the big thing because if you misprioritize it, it's not going to happen. You're going to be more frustrated and that's going to cost you.
You nailed it. Yeah, I mean you ask Olympic athletes the number one saddest day of their life, and it's often when they're standing on a podium with a gold medal around
What am I
their
going
neck.
to? Yeah, and what am I going to do next?
Where do
Who
I go from
am
here?
I? What
Yeah.
am I going to be? Am I
Yeah.
just this person now?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, y'all stop your chit chat now. I got to do this intro.
Okay.
I got to do this thing for business.
All right.
Oh, you the man. Hang on, Rebecca. I got to do this thing, and then we'll get started on the interview again.
You're good.
Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone continues now on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Yeah. Chris Villani, Rebecca Heiss, #1 talk business show in North Carolina. Wonder why? Because we got exceptional people here today. This is WSIC 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. I am Joe Vagnone, and this is Local Biz Now, where your business matters. Fire it up, JoJo.
Thoughts of putting out fires may be intense, but relaxation can be just as powerful. I'm Josh Johnson, and when I'm not at the firehouse, I'm unwinding at Burner Cigar. Join me in experiencing blazing relaxation, the perfect way to kick back and enjoy the moment.
Okay, if you're not watching the show and you're listening on the radio, I'm holding up a sign that says it's a big puff of smoke and it says this cigar is on you, which means if you go by Burner Cigar, the first cigar is on me. We ask you to hold up a sign similar to this. It says some other funny stuff. Take a picture of it, put it on your social media, and your cigar is on me. Please go by Burner Cigar. They are exceptional people. Wonderful place. Sit down and relax. Chris and I have had some of our favorite conversations over a good cigar.
Yes, we have.
And I like to tell people in a business setting, there's no better equalizer than a cigar because it's 45 minutes or an hour that I get to sit and talk with you.
Yep.
It's a whole lot better than chasing a white ball around.
Right.
And in my case, looking for the white ball that I can't find. But anyways, please go buy Burner Cigar, and your first cigar is on me. We appreciate it.
They're a great place, by the way.
Okay.
Go there all the time.
So they are. They're just exceptional people.
Very friendly, very nice.
Okay, so I've got Chris Villani here. He is the founder of Rise of the Super Athlete, and I have Rebecca Heiss. Rebecca has been a inspiration for me and Julie for some time now. We secretly watch her videos, and I don't want people to know that I like her stuff because every now and then she'll beat up on men. You understand that?
It's true.
She's like,
now, hold on. Listen, I think it's just time that you take it and you observe it and you're like, wow, this is causing me stress. Let me look at this stress that it's causing me. I'm an equal opportunity abuser. Yeah.
You are. You are. And your stuff is just exceptional. And again, I've said it, but let me say it again. The reason why it's exceptional, because it's not just Rebecca telling you what she thinks. It's Rebecca telling you what the research is telling us. There is a difference here. Some people just like to talk about it. Yeah. Some people know about it. Rebecca knows about it. Go to her YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is exceptional. There's a lot of stuff on there. Rebecca, it's just phenomenal. So at the break, you were telling me you're getting ready to write another book. What is it?
I am. I'm getting ready. I'm actually in the middle of writing my second book now called Springboard, all about how we can use stress rather than have stress use us. I'm super, super excited about it. It includes some proprietary research, some really exciting research that I can't wait to tell people about. But using my T-3 technique, essentially, we've been able to increase your heart rate variability, which is a way that the body responds and adapts to stress, and decrease people's overall perception of the amount that they feel stress is harming them. So really excited to release that book hopefully next year.
So when my son was getting ready to go on that stage, and I am a nervous wreck, you understand, and you hit the nail on the head. I had no control, but I wanted to find some control, right? There is no control. This is a national stage right in Las Vegas, but Joe had to do something. So I get up, literally stand as close to my son as I possibly can and start screaming, let's do it. Let's get it. Leave no doubt. That's how I controlled that. Like it was my only way to get some kind of control out of that.
But Joe, you did it. You did exactly what you needed to do there. You transformed all of that energy into something that's useful. So stress can eat us from the inside, or we can get excited. I mean, listen, there's got to be some Marines that listen to your show. The ooh-rah.
Right.
I mean, what is that? If that is just stress turned to excitement.
Yeah.
Ooh-rah, we get to go for a 20-mile ruck. Ooh-rah,
right.
Like, let's go. Let's go into battle. Let's do the things. It is transforming that stress energy into some powerful way that we can use it. And so I think you did a great job of that. I'm going to sit back and applaud you.
Yeah, Rebecca just applauded. Did you see that?
I did.
Okay. So one of the things that Chris did for me years ago was redefine my intentionality, right? And he said, Joe, it's time for Joe 2.0. And he made that statement, right? And it wasn't because at the time I wanted him to help me lose weight, right? You know what I mean? It had nothing to do with losing weight. Nothing, right? It had to do with the new Joe.
Yes.
Whatever the new Joe was.
Absolutely.
And it was mentally redefining in that every moment when I get up, I'm thinking, what does the 2.0 Joe look like, right? And
I love that.
And that's what he did for me. And it also gives me the control that you said, right? So it's interesting because I never thought of it as being out of control. But in fact, that's exactly what it is.
I think what Chris did for you is so powerful because I talk about stressors being tigers. And you can apply this to anything, a big business goal, a weight loss goal. You're like, man, I want to lose 150 pounds. Well, oh my God, how am I going to lose 150 pounds? I'm never going to do that. I'm just not even going to try. And you sit there and you don't take that first step forward, that small micro goal, because it's easier to just not fail. But not failure or success is very different. They're two very different things, right? So if you want to hit that goal, it requires sometimes failing. It requires sometimes stepping on that scale and going, dang, I went up today. And that's okay. That's data that our brain can use and say, what did I eat? What did I exercise? Did I do? Was I operating from Joe 2.0 or was I operating like my old programming? And so, to me, I think Chris nailed it on the head when he reset that whole mindset to include purpose and a new version of you, a why behind the weight loss. So it's not just weight loss; it's a whole new you.
Right. So go ahead, Chris.
Well, that when we look at what was happening here is we always think that most people think that they're just one thing. So when we ask people who they are, well, I'm just this person. And it's like, no, you're not. You are many people. You're a son, daughter, father, mom, wife, best friend. You're so many different people. And when you can take and let people really understand that, well, I'm a lot more of these, then you can go, okay, what energy do you need to bring to this now? What other version of you, what other part of you can you bring alive and make this whole new thing? And what it does when I'm working with somebody, it's always like, I want to make sure that they get back. A lot of people are just, well, that's just how it is. It's just fate or whatever else. Yes, life has been undefeated, but we can be the co-author with that. And we can, and if we're going to do that, then we might as well decorate it along the way. Why not? It's free.
I love that.
Right. If it's free. And if you're going to fail, then fail and have fun with it and be good and learn from it, because we're all going to fail. We're all going to get mud in our face and it's going to suck. Fine. But it's going to suck if you don't do it. So you better figure out which way you want to pull that.
You know what? You said so many powerful things there, but one of the things that resonated the most with me, and I'm actually curious to hear your opinion on this. I hear oftentimes people saying, well, I just fake it till I make it.
Yes.
I hate that. I hate it so much because it sets you into this I'm an imposter mindset. Like I'm just faking it. What you did and what you're saying is like show up as if you already are that athlete. Show up as if you're playing this role. Because when you are in that role, you make different decisions, you make different choices. You show up all in.
Yes.
And whether or not you fail, it doesn't matter. You're playing the game. You're in the arena.
Well, what's also fascinating,
Huge difference.
and I'm with you with the imposter syndrome, and I have a hard time with it because there's really no leverage there. It can help, though. It has helped. People are like, well, we hear like Barbara Streisand had imposter syndrome. We know Beyonce, she has an imposter syndrome. But if I was talking to, an athlete, for example, or a business owner, and I said, if your best friend was, in trouble, what would you do? That's I'd do anything, but you're willing to do more for them than for yourself. Mm-hmm. That's a problem.
We don't treat ourselves right. Yeah, we don't treat ourselves like our best friend.
Then they want to come up with excuses. But you wouldn't give your friend the best excuse because it wouldn't be good for them. You would help them out any way you could. And you wouldn't take no for an answer, and you'd keep going until they won or got better, if it's for your son or daughter, friend, family member, whatever else. When you can reframe it and look at it that way, it doesn't mean that it still won't suck and you won't have any answers or frustrations. They're still going to be there, but you're going to come back and look at them differently. And that's what we need to do. Show up, 400 million to 1. Was that the odds of being born? Is that what it is?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's nuts. You're here.
Probably crazier than that.
It's a lot. So when you can look at it and stack it that way, you're like, well, yeah, my life, I've had all
I'm
these
already
great
a
things.
winner.
Well, you should. And the thing about it is and here's where people confuse us. People think that's positive thinking. In some ways, it can be. I think positive thinking is good until you get slapped in the face. But when you are going, go, wait a second. In other situations for my son or daughter, I would do anything. But so then what you're telling me is you're willing to do more for them than for yourself. What kind of role model are you showing them? What are you going to show them when they get older and then they go through tough times and they're having challenges that, well, you can do more for others than yourself. I wouldn't want that for my kids or grandkids.
So one of the things that I find that what you guys are talking about here is that we, people like us, right? Rebecca and Chris and Joe and many more like us, when we see somebody try and fail, that's just admiration. We have a great deal of we don't see that as a negative failure, right?
Absolutely.
We say that as attaboy. So what we're trying to give them is, if you just try, you've got my respect and admiration, right? And somewhere they miss that point. Somewhere, if you're not even trying, you're missing a whole group of us that are expecting you to try.
Yep.
That's it. I tell people, my very first public speaking event, I was 8 years old and I played sick. I made it all the way to the state finals and I didn't show up that day. And it has haunted me.
Ooh.
I mean, I was 8 years old, right?
Right.
But I played sick. And so the question that I want to encourage your entire audience to ask themselves right now is this: where are you playing sick? Where are you not going all in and showing up for yourself again and again and again?
Nice.
Because who cares if you fail?
Yep.
That's data. You're learning from that. You're growing from that. You're moving from that. You're pointing yourself in a new trajectory.
Absolutely.
But if you're sitting there, if you're not showing up, if you're not going all in, you're going to have a lot of regrets, my friend.
Let's take a break. We come back. I want to talk about fear because it sounds like it's like the driver of all of this. right?
Heck yeah.
You are listening to Local Biz Now, where your business matters. We'll be right back.
There's more Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone on the way from 105.9 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
So, Rebecca, I guess I should have told you. When we're on live radio break, we're still live on Facebook and YouTube and all that. So
that's cool. Hi, guys. Sorry. Did I say something, do something? Y'all probably need to tell me if I did something. I was probably like airing my pits or something, you know. Won't be the first time I've been caught in a hot break,
right.
you know.
That's right. Hey, Patrick wanted to say hi to Chris Villani. He's on Facebook. You know the nickname I gave Patrick, don't you? He is the Kardashian of Lake Norman.
Oh yeah. He's busy all around doing stuff. I love what he's doing. The guy's busy. He's I've known Patrick for a while.
No. He is nothing. He does nothing. He says nothing. You know, and everybody wants to be like Patrick.
The guy's amazing. I watch him. He's busting his butt every day.
Joe's in there saying, "What are you doing to Patrick, man? You're beating up on Patrick." Yeah.
I love Patrick. He's a great guy. Every week I see what he's doing. Hey, Patrick, keep doing what you're doing, man.
Joe, let me be clear. Patrick does nothing, says nothing, is nothing, has produced nothing. I mean, I don't know what to tell you about Patrick, but everybody loves Patrick and wants to be just like him.
He's the star of the home ad show.
I know. You understand? Patrick is everywhere. You understand?
He's good.
He's the Kardashian of Lake Norman.
Absolutely.
So, those of you that think I really am picking on Patrick, I'm not. I love him. He's a dear friend of mine. So it's an inside joke that Patrick and I have tried to push outside. And obviously, Joe, the board operator, didn't get it. Just stay out of it, JoJo.
Oh.
Goodness gracious. I need a new board operator. Okay, maybe not now. Maybe not right now.
Yeah, he might want to pick your timing for that one, Joe.
Yeah, seriously. He's like, peace, I'm out. He's looking for his contract.
Joe said, okay, I'm out of here. No problem. Patrick, see what you stirred up? That's Patrick's fault. That's all Patrick's fault. Patrick's going to get me fired.
Yeah, you do a good job at yourself.
That's right. I don't need Patrick for it.
You do well on your own.
Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone continues now on 105.9 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
#1 live talk business radio show in North Carolina. WSIC, 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. This is Local Biz Now, where your business matters. Chris Villani and I are sitting here talking with one of the most exceptional women on the planet. She would prefer I say people on the planet.
What? Where? Who is this?
Rebecca Heiss.
Wait,
Rebecca.
is Julia Roberts here?
That's Thank you so much for being here. Please, for everybody that's listening, tell them how they can get to your website and also how they can get to your YouTube channel.
Sure. If you go to YouTube and you type in Dr. Rebecca Heiss, I think that's it. I think it's just YouTube / Dr. Rebecca, REBECCA HEISS, and it's the same thing for the website. It's just RebeccaHeiss.com. Reach out. Would love to hear from you. Always up for questions, comments, and feedback. So.
And Julie has both of those on Facebook right now, so you can go to Facebook and those links are there if you want to do that as well. And I must tell you, I watch her Rebecca's YouTube channel all the time. It really is just fun and exciting. And here's the point: I keep saying it, but it's so important. It is Dr. Rebecca Heiss. The information is just because she says it.
Know.
That's right. Just because she says it in an entertaining way doesn't mean it's not real, substantial research. And that's what makes the difference. Rebecca, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Joe. I'm not just your cousin Rick talking about the latest greatest, I guess, on Facebook. Right. So hopefully I know something about something. I promise you, if I don't know it, I'm going to tell you I don't know it.
So let's talk about fear, because it seems like fear keeps popping up in a lot of your videos, right? And I remember when we first met, you were speaking on fear less. So talk a little bit about that, because it seems to be at every point in our lives somewhere controlling something. In most cases, we don't even realize it's happening.
Man, that's it. I think fear is around us at all times, right? It's how much we allow it to influence our lives. So when I say fearless, it's not fearless. It's not be fearless. That's dumb. Like, don't run out in traffic because you don't have any fear. Like, that's a poor choice, right?
Yeah.
But fearing less, consciously choosing what you're going to fear. Well, like, I don't fear rejection anymore. I mean, guys, if you missed it on the break, I think I was smelling my armpits or something. Joe was like, you're live. You know that, right? I stopped fearing rejection because, like, what good is it? Somebody's going to reject me for doing something human. Okay, that's not my loss. It's fine. So really being conscious about what we actually fear. Like, it's probably good to fear an actual tiger charging us.
Yep.
Is it really scary to take on a new challenge? Probably not, because even if we fail, we're making progress towards a bigger goal. And so getting really clear about things that are good to fear and things that are less helpful to fear, I think is really the heart of my work.
So I go to your website. I'm actually on it right now. It's just a great website. And I'll tell you, part of what makes it so great is your personality comes out in this, right? Like what you see is what you get with Rebecca, right? So what you hear is who she is.
Yes.
You've got these things that you call master classes, and they look like they're organizational conversations. And can you talk a little bit about that? Because there may be some people that are in control of the next class that they're looking for in the corporate world.
Yeah, absolutely. I do a fearless masterclass for both corporations and as well as for individuals in cohorts or like on a one-to-one basis. So my masterclass is based around 6 chapters of fearing less. And the first chapter is all about knowing yourself. I don't think we get anywhere without really having a clear understanding of who we are. The second chapter is based on stress and anxiety. The third is on fear of rejection and failure. The fourth is on imposter syndrome. The fifth is on confidence building. And the sixth, this is going to be an interesting one to hear your hot take on, Chris, is on manifesting positivity.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yes.
I am a scientist.
Yes.
And I do not want the woo-woo Pollyanna, just think positively and things will happen to you. No.
Yeah.
However, there's some really, really strong science about the way we filter information, the way we take positive information in, and the way we can transform it.
Right.
That actually is really helpful. So that's the Fearless Masterclass. It's fun.
Because those are great topics.
So
those
Chris,
are really good.
So Chris, she tipped on, it's kind of rubbed up against something, which was, I get tired. I see a lot of business coaches.
Right.
They come up here and they tell me how they're going to help your business.
Yeah.
But there's no substance to the conversation, right? You two are here and on my favorite list, right? Because you deliver, right? The things you say are real. How do we determine, I guess here's a question for both of you, when in fact somebody is delivering on advice or not? Rebecca, if I didn't follow you for so long, I wouldn't have put you in my number 1 category, right? I'd have put you in the I'm not sure category. That's
fair.
What do we look for when we're trying to gather advice? Because I'll tell you something. We all need this advice. We need this inspiration and this motivation. There are just times, I'm a very positive person, but there's just times I got to have Chris.
Okay. So let's, can we reframe this? Because let's go back to, your chapter 6 was, what would you call that, Rebecca?
It's manifesting positivity for skeptics.
Manifesting positivity. So you said there's a woo-woo side of it. Just believe it and it'll just appear and stuff like that. But there's other sides of it where when you visualize it and then take action.
That's it.
That's what you're doing. That's actually the rewiring of the neurons in your mind, your prefrontal cortex and everything else that start triggering, and you'll start looking for it. What you're doing is you're conditioning the RAS. You'll start seeing it. It's like that person who wants that new car, new pair of shoes, or whatever else. So there's
see them everywhere.
And this is what happens. A lot of people, all you have to do is just act, just speak it into existence or whatever else. Well, I could be sitting on a couch and speak myself into existence in Hawaii. It's just not going to happen until I do something for it. It's more or less, okay, what do I got to do? Then how do I visualize it, see it, notice it, and make it appear everywhere? And here's the other thing I love about what this part means. We talk about building a new identity. Once you build a new identity or manifest something and you start taking action, your mind starts wiring and it will start noticing it everywhere. And then you start building more. People ask, well, how do you do it? What is it? Well, it's the training, it's the hours, it's the repetition, it's everything I put into this that makes it so it's natural. It's almost like when I listen to a Tom Brady, people are like, wow, you're so great. But he's been doing this for 30 some odd years. He takes something that was and doing the same thing over again and failing a million times, by the way. You're talking about a guy who's 199th picked and everything else. So is that what you try to go with the manifestation part?
You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. It's about seeing the things, then taking action, rewiring your brain, having your brain see the world differently, taking new action. And the cool thing is your brain is manifesting all the time.
Absolutely. Yes.
Full stop.
Yes.
Right? Like think about what you're looking at, what you're seeing, the data that you're taking in.
Yes.
And I want to return actually to Joe's question too, because I think it's so important. What do I look for in the people and the data that I'm collecting? First of all, I look for scientifically validated first author papers. I don't take it from the news. I don't care what news program you watch. I don't take it from them. I go to the author itself, go to the source, make sure it's validated and reviewed by scientists. The second thing I look for is if I'm listening to somebody and I don't know them, I'm looking for them to say, I don't know. I actually don't know the answer.
Yes.
Because I can't tell you how many times I've been asked a question and I'll be like, I need to check my sources on that. Even if it's a paper that I wrote or I'm familiar with, like true story. Like I thought I had a little panic attack when you started talking about my book. And I was like, if he asked me anything about that, I'm gonna have to go into the book and look at it. Cause it's been a minute. I don't remember what I said. So like, I think looking for people that are willing to admit they don't know something and they have to go back to the source is huge. Yes. If you're talking with someone and they just have all the answers right at the top, I'd be a little suspicious about them because
it's interesting.
A lot of information to hold.
It's interesting that you say that because I tell my clients all the time, listen, I need to do some research on that industry. If that broker's telling you they know, I know what's happening in the economy. And we don't know where that's going, right? So it's not possible to answer that question without gathering more information.
Overconfidence is a big asterisk for me. It's a big asterisk for me.
Yep. Okay, so we've got about 3 minutes. I don't want you to go back to 1962, okay? But she looked like she was born in the 80s. But anyway. Tell us a little bit about your background. Did you wake up one day and decide I'm gonna be a doctor of fearless intention?
Exactly what happened.
Give me a little bit of your background.
All right, you want to hear the most interesting part of my background? It's probably this. I am a world-renowned expert, true story, in American crows. I have a degree in ornithology, and I studied crows for 10 years.
Wow.
So this is a little known fact about me, but if you got a bird question, especially about crows, I'm your girl.
Wow.
Turns out,
how did you move that? Wow. How does that move in?
It turns out that bird brains and taking blood from birds is a lot easier to get a hold of than human brains. And so we can study a lot of the same things in humans as we can in crows. And they're a great model for human behavior, believe it or not. So crazy as it sounds, crows are kind of my jam. So.
Wow. You could have given me 100 years. I would not have come up with that one.
I love surprising people with
something you don't hear every day.
Right?
Hey guys, we've only got about a minute. Thank you both so much. I'm here with Chris Villani, Rise of the Super Athlete. Thank you, my friend. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely.
Rebecca, when you get your book finished, I want to be the first interview when you're ready. Send it to Julie. We're going to give you the entire hour. Give me time to read the book, and we're going to go over the entire book from start to finish.
We're doing it, Joe. You heard it here first. You got my exclusive interview first.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Rebecca Heiss, please go to her website. Please go to her YouTube channel. They are exceptional. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, where your business matters. We will see you next week.